What's up, guys? We are excited to share with you our long-awaited GR86 exhaust shootout, where we're going to be taking 12 different catbacks from various manufacturers. We are going to be unboxing, providing initial review. We're going to weigh them. We're going to dyno test them. We're going to road test them out in the parking lot with a dB meter for light pulls, heavy pulls, and out on the road, and give you guys our feedback, share the data with you, and hopefully this will be a video where you guys can reference to make the best choice on an exhaust system while you're shopping for your 86 or BRZ. So let's get started. We're excited to get to the first one right now. All right, we're getting started now with the baseline on the GR86. It does still have the GR performance intake installed, as well as the E85 tune. The tank is full of E85. So we're just gonna see what the stock exhaust does for our baseline before we get started on installing all the rest of the catbacks. Dyno mode.
If we put on an exhaust system and it keeps making power like this just did on the third run, we'll just make another run. And we'll make the run until it loses power or stops gaining power. That way we'll be as fair as we can. Okay. We all know the stock. This is what we've dynoed this car at multiple times. So
she's a ripper. Certified.
Certified.
Certified ripper.
So here we go. We've got the Tomei titanium single exit ready to go. Let's go ahead and start unboxing this thing. All right, we've got something to prevent spring noise. All right, let's start with the tip here. All right, the end piece here, nice burnt titanium tip. Already can feel how light it is. There we go. Look at them pie cuts. Very nicely welded and finished here. Love it. All right, the mid pipe. Again, some really nice pie cut weld, really beefy resonator. And the crown jewel here, it's our titanium muffler section. Again, the welds and the quality of these pie cuts and this titanium is extremely high. All right, and finally we got some box with presumably some hardware inside. And that's exactly what it is. So first thing I see here is a nice silencer. We can try this. Inside the muffler to quiet things down. If you are doing cold starts in a neighborhood where you want to keep the neighbors happy or something like that, or you just want to take a long drive with minimal exhaust noise, you can install this inside of the tip of the muffler and quiet things down quite a bit. So it's nice that they include this. All right. Hanger assembly of sorts. And we've got our clamps, rubber insulation, hardware, nice springs, bolts, Allen key, some bolt smooth paste, and a fresh gasket, along with some Tomei swag, stickers, license plate frame, and a badge of sorts. All right, so now that we've got this unboxed, let's get it weighed and installed on the car.
What do you think?
Sounds good.
Dyno mode.
Wide open throttle through third gear into fourth, into fifth, and sixth gear, cruising. That's sixth gear, 60 miles an hour. On throttle, it does start to drone a little bit, but not bad. The cabin is actually pretty well insulated in this car. But yeah, I could totally have a conversation in sixth gear as long as I'm not on throttle. Yeah, when you do that, it sounds good. And
There's like 90.
I did that right in front of him.
Oh, really?
Yes, oh. I did that downshift right in front of him. And now I gotta turn around in front of this one. Yield to all these vehicles. Sir, it's loud, but I promise you we weren't speeding. It's not capable of doing it.
No.
This is truly slow.
It can't even get out of its own way.
That's why I have that shitty grin on my face, because I did that,
Yeah.
that downshift right in front of him. A little downshift, fourth to third. Especially in a higher gear, on throttle, even if you tiptoe into the throttle, you'll start to hear it, and it will resonate into the cabin a little bit. But the size of the actual resonator on this Catback is impressive. It's high quality. The titanium isn't that thin either, but still, looks great. It's lightweight. I would run this as long as I had a exhaust outlet cover for the driver's side. or vice versa. Any single exit that's like this and sounds like this, I would run it and run an exhaust outlet cover on the other side so that it looks clean from behind. Because I mean, that's a nice sound. And second. And that's all windows up too. So pretty well insulated, windows down. I mean, it's loud. Yes, there's no doubt about it. This is a loud exhaust. But is it daily drivable? Is it livable? Yes, I'd say so. If your taste is on the louder side, given that you have a stock header and a stock front pipe, this catback, this Tomei titanium catback single exit is a solid choice. All right, so now we got the MBRP single exit. All right, muffler section here. Axle back pipe connection here, and the mid pipe. No resonator, so this one should be quite loud. Hardware box with the tip. All right. And our clamps. All right, so let's get this weighed and get it on the car. Second gear pull. Into fifth. And sixth. So it's reasonably quiet, just like the Tomei off throttle. On throttle, you can definitely tell a difference in the drone in the cabin due to the lack of resonator in the mid-pipe section of this catback. Still sounds pretty good. pitch to it, I think. Feels like it's a higher pitch a little bit. It's not quite as deep sounding, even though it's still a 3-inch. I definitely think the lack of resonator changes the sound a little bit. High frequency, high RPM. You definitely hear it, you feel it a little bit more. 5th gear, part throttle again, I can definitely hold a conversation. As soon as I tip in, you start to feel that drone, start to hear that drone as well. It's got some nice character to it on downshifts, just like the Tomei did. But I would still say the lack of resonator gives it slightly less street friendliness, just simply due to the 5th and 6th gear cruising characteristics of this being a little bit dronier. But cruising around the parking lot, still pretty chill, not too loud. I think it really has to do with the amount of throttle you give it, of course. You can definitely live with this day to day, but I would still prefer something with a resonator in the mid-pipe for both street and track use. All right, so now we have the MBRP Armor Pro Dual Exit Catback to unbox. So let's go. All right, so we have another 3-inch mid-pipe with no resonator. And this is what makes it a dual right here. We've got a Y that goes to each muffler that is in the axle back section. We've got similar clamps to the single exit. And we've got ourselves 2 mufflers that appear to be bigger in diameter than the single exit muffler. And we got ourselves a pair of exhaust tips. Same style as the single exit. You got yourself a burnt tip. Looks like a 4.5 or a 5-inch tip. And here we are. We got both tips, both mufflers. Let's go get this thing weighed and get it on the dyno.
Sounds good.
It does. It sounds pretty good. It's the pop at the top though. It's a little high pitched for what it is.
Yeah.
right, so first impressions of this catback. This is the MBRP Dual exit. It's also a 3-inch, just like the single exit. You get bigger mufflers, of course, 2 of them, which does quiet things down a bit under load. Still sounds good on the downshifts. It's a little bit quieter, but still the lack of resonator on this one does give me some pause, because that 5th gear part throttle, you still do get some cabin resonance on this one. Still sounds really good on downshifts, get a little bit of backfire. Can't complain about that at all. But I would love to see a resonator on this one. I think that would quiet things down. Do another 1st or 3rd pull. Into 4th. Sounds pretty good. 5th gear. Again, this would be livable daily. However, that 5th gear on throttle drone is still present, and I do think a resonator would improve things quite a bit in the mid-pipe. But still, when you're cruising, it's nice and quiet until you get on throttle. 6th gear, just rolling on the throttle, you can definitely hear it resonating through the cabin a little bit. It'd be interesting to see what the dual exits with a bigger muffler and a resonator will do. Still like downshifting this. All right, now it's time to unbox the ISR Performance OM Dual exhaust. Also very nicely packaged. We've got here a 2-piece, what looks like a 2-piece mid-pipe section that has a separate flange here where it connects presumably to the front pipe. Got our ISR sticker. I mean, I could always read the label before I unbox it. Got hardware here, and finally the muffler section. All right, so again, first impressions of the ISR OM style catback exhaust are that it is good quality. We've got ourselves some nice polished stainless on the muffler section. This muffler is going to be one of the biggest ones we've installed on this car so far, which should keep things relatively quiet. So let's get this weighed and get it on the dyno. ISR Performance OMS style catback exhaust is an exceptionally quiet exhaust. It looks great, the quality is good. As we saw in the unboxing, the packaging was also exceptionally good. This exhaust has compromises in the way that it performs with regards to overall horsepower. It's about the same as stock. The sound is about the same as stock, save for maybe a couple of decibels louder. It's definitely throatier. The pros are that it's exceptionally quiet. There's no drone in the cabin, even in 5th and 6th gear part throttle. This would be a catback exhaust that I would absolutely consider if I were adding a header or a front pipe to my car, because again, it's going to control all that extra volume and rasp and high RPM tinniness. So a great choice under 600 bucks. If you're going to run this with a stock header, you should expect close to stock sound levels, again with zero drone. So there's a lot to be said about that. Good value for those of you guys who are, again, looking for something very, very quiet, but also sounding a little bit more throaty than stock. So let's get to the next one. Okay, so on this exhaust, we have a couple little blemishes on each of the tips, presumably due to shipping, but if that ever happens to you, if you purchase this exhaust or anything from us, and you ever have an issue with a damaged part, let us know and we'll absolutely take care of you. Okay, now it's time to unbox the ISR Performance Dual Exit Catback. All right, so right off the rip, I do appreciate the foam here in the packaging. That forms to whatever's inside and keeps it nice and safe and secure. We have a resonated mid pipe. All right, so quality points here. These welds look really good. Stainless looks high quality as well. This resonator, the welds on it look good, and it's a polished stainless resonator. This actually looks really nice. Digging in further, we have our axle back section. This one has a muffler attached to the Y pipe and a second muffler that attaches to the Y pipe as well. This axle back section also looks really nice. The stainless steel here, again, has really nice welds on it, polished. It's got a nice finish to it. The muffler is quite large, and the outlet of the muffler looks like maybe a 3.5, 3 inch, maybe 4.5. I'm double check on that. Second muffler here. Again, appreciate the attention to detail here on the packaging itself with the foam on the hangers. Hangers also look really nice. The welds on them look good. This is a solid piece for the price. So let's get this thing weighed and then get it on the dyno. So this has a protective cover for the tip. exhaust, given that the car has a stock header and stock catted front pipe. For this exhaust, cruising in 5th and 6th gear, it does have a little drone in 6th, but not so much in 5th. But it is overall, throughout the gears and all the way to the red line, much quieter than some of the other single exits and dual exits that we've tried so far. Made about the same power, and throttle response still feels good. But I think that this ISR Performance dual exit catback would be a really good choice for somebody that is planning on installing a catless header or catless front pipe, because of the fact that this has a nice beefy resonator in the mid pipe and sizable mufflers. This would keep a catless header or catless front pipe tamed down, because once you introduce one of those to your exhaust system, it's going to get not only much louder but much raspier. So you're definitely going to want something that behind it that is going to keep it tame, and I think this ISR catback will absolutely do the job. Alright, here we have the HKS High Power Spec-L 2 single exit catback. Love seeing the foam sealed packaging. We got ourselves a mid-pipe section, muffler. Welds on HKS stuff are always exceptionally good. We got ourselves a polished stainless tip and the rest of it under here. So this one is a notable mid-pipe because it has a Helmholtz resonator. Helmholtz resonators typically take the high frequency sounds and cancel it out inside of this chamber. Shouldn't affect flow too much because it's out of the path, but any of those high frequencies get canceled out in here and giving you a nice rasp-free exhaust note. Got hardware and some interesting metal sealing rings, I believe, for each of the flange connections and hardware. What is this? Here we have another nice piece, hanger for the muffler, presumably. Yeah. All right, that's it. So let's get this thing weighed and get it on the dyno. All right, so these instructions are telling us to put this bracket on the passenger side, and it's pointing to the driver's side, but HKS, JDM, passengers sit on that side.
These
so
instructions are JDM.
yeah, they're JDM. They're English, but they're for a JDM.
Dyno mode.
this one's pretty light. It weighed in at 19 pounds versus the Tomei 3-inch titanium exhaust, which was 17 pounds. It was only 2 pounds heavier than a full titanium 3-inch, which is to be noted. HKS is obviously really high quality. They have an additional hanger underneath it to get everything hung correctly the way that they route the piping. We did put a caliper on this piping, and it was 2.3 inches, or 2.4, excuse me, 2.4 inches. Another interesting note is that HKS have this labeled as 4-cup. Need to look it up, but I believe that this is used in one of the Japanese GR racing series for these cars. So it seems like this is approved for the Cup race series over there, which is nice. I would say that this catback is also header friendly. When you add a header, of course, you add volume, you add some rasp as well, especially with catless headers and front pipes. So this would tame that really well. The reason why is because this not only has a resonated front pipe, it also has an additional Helmholtz resonator. So that kills a lot of the high RPM rasp. This catback also has no drone whatsoever in 5th and 6th gear part throttle, where some of the other ones did, more than likely because they lacked a resonator. So this one with that Helmholtz, it does excellent for that rasp and drone reduction. Again, this one is quiet, but it is header friendly. So if you did want to do that in the future, you'd have a really nice sounding setup overall. So yeah, let's get this one pulled in and on to the next one. All right, next up is the Borla S-Type Catback exhaust. Let's get this unboxed. Got a nice Borla hat. We've got our exhaust clamps here. Instructions printed in color, nice. And some nice foam-filled packaging for the hot parts. All right, we got tips hiding in here. Nice polished stainless tip. Second tip here. Also nicely polished. And the rest here. So we've got ourselves a mid-pipe section that splits off to each tip. And the unique thing about the Borla Catback is that the muffler is in the front section of the mid-pipe right here. So this looks like a chambered style muffler that will sit underneath the car. You won't be able to see it, but this should reduce the rasp and the drone pretty well. We'll see. So that is it. We have everything we need. So let's go ahead and get this thing weighed and then get it on the dyno. Panama! So of note here on this Borla Catback, on the axle back section right past the Y, we do have a out of round piece of pipe here. We might struggle with getting it installed. Just of note, if you do order this and you ever have an issue, we'll definitely help you out with that and get you a replacement if needed, but we're going to try to fit it up. That's not going to work.
Well, hey there, bud. What's you got there? Is that a
I
cone?
stick it in the hole and make it round again. We set this up away.
Yeah. Do we want to do it on the table or on the ground?
Oh,
Good.
wow.
Mint.
That actually worked.
Okay. It was,
It was oval.
out of round.
Not
It was
round.
it was D-shaped, not O-shaped. Yeah. It's flared. It's flared now.
You can also scrunch it down a little bit too.
Oh, can it?
Yeah.
Go to your home.
Okay, with it being that tight, it's gonna have to be.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Monies. All right, now the fun part is gonna be getting this.
Okay. It's resting.
Dyno mode.
On the Borla S-Type Catback.
As far as the sound goes, it does have an odd sound from inside the cabin. Not a drone, but you can definitely tell after testing catbacks that have a resonated mid-pipe and the muffler at the back that the muffler in here is right underneath you and right in the mid-pipe section, if that makes sense. It's not a bad sound, it's just a different sound. Also with this exhaust, we did see, outside of that one section of pipe being out of round, some of the connection points did require us to use some WD-40 to get some lubrication on those areas to get the pipes to fit in together. The clamps were also a little bit difficult. We had to lubricate those in order to get them going smoothly. So at the price point, I'm not sure if this is one that I would immediately jump on if I were going for a catback exhaust for one of these cars. Power it made was good. It had a 3 horsepower gain over stock, I believe. However, with the gaps in in quality that we were able to observe on this one, I think that those of us that are shopping price consciously, there may be some options that would give buyers better quality for their money. And so we're going to go ahead and put the next one on now. Okay, so here we have the Magnaflow NEO Catback. This one came to us, the box got a little bit messed up, but we're gonna open it up and make sure that everything's all right before we weigh it. All right, so we've got a mid-pipe section here that goes to a Y right there. Got tips here, one muffler here. Second muffler. Does have a little blemish there. And another thing I like to see are Helmholtz resonators. So we've got one here on this mid-pipe. I'm glad to see it. This catback is advertised with Magnaflow's zero drone technology. And I believe the way that they achieve that is with a Helmholtz resonator. So this one is very big, comes off the side here, and that's going to allow this catback to cancel out those high RPM unwanted frequencies, such as what produces drone. So be anxious to see how much this thing weighs. Oh, another note, all V-band connections with this catback. So V-bands to the mufflers, V-band from the mid-pipe to the secondary mid-pipe piece as well. And it looks like V-bands on the Y as well. And we have our hardware here as well, all V-bands. All right, I want to check out this Y section. Let's see what that looks like. Pretty nice looking Y. So it looks like it's gusseted, has kind of a press fit around it and welded all around. These V-bands are nice stainless pieces, so it'll be interesting to see how this one installs, bolts up. But first, we're gonna go get it weighed and then get it installed and on the dyno.
first of all, it's $2,039. It is by far the most expensive catback we've tested so far. It is all stainless. The welds are decent. The V-bands did come together. It took a couple. It wasn't doable with one person. Let me just say that. Needed someone else to come and hold the pipes together and get the V-band on. I don't know that the V-bands are necessary on a simple catback exhaust like this. I feel like the ones that had the 2-bolt, gasketed flange were perfectly fine, easy enough for one person to install. V-bands are nice to look at, but when you actually have to install them and get them just right, sometimes they can be a struggle. So as far as drone goes, 5th gear, 6th gear, part throttle, I'm feeling some drone, hearing some drone. So despite the fact that this does have a Helmholtz resonator, I do have some character on downshifts, some burbles, which is nice. But despite this having a Helmholtz resonator, I'm really surprised that there is even a hint of drone. It's not as bad as those 3-inch catbacks that don't have a resonator. However, my ears hear it. And I think, Dave, you probably heard it too.
Definitely.
That, this is, for $2,000, zero drone technology should produce a zero drone, right? It does have a Helmholtz. I'm sure that without it would be even worse, but 5th and 6th gear, part throttle, we are hearing it. And again, this car has a stock header, stock front pipe. So with that said, for $2,000, I would have personally expected a little bit more in the fit and finish, the quality. The V-bands are nice, high quality V-bands. I just don't know that they're necessary. I feel like having simple 2-bolt gasketed flange works just fine for most applications. So I am struggling to see where the value is coming from. So with that, on to the next catback.
Now we have the Corsa Performance Dual Exit Catback. Let's get it unboxed. Got ourselves stickers and instructions. Love me some foam packaging. Keeps everything nice and safe during transit. Got ourselves polished stainless tip here with some protective film on that. I appreciate that. Got ourselves a second half of the mid pipe. Real bendy. We've got ourselves some clamps and gaskets included. Second tip right here, slip fit like the Borla, polished stainless. It's like a 3.5 inch, maybe a 4-inch tip. And the muffler section, let's get the mid pipe out first. Mid pipe here, 2-bolt flange to a resonator here in the mid pipe, and the muffler. All right, so this looks like a chambered muffler with 1 inlet and 2 outlets. So the exhaust gases come into here and get run around into the outlets here, which should do a really good job at keeping the volume and decibels down. I expect this one to be throaty but quiet. So let's get this thing weighed and get it on the dyno.
Blaine, what'd you find?
That just doesn't seem correct. It's like the robot forgot to finish.
Only do a little bit. Can you see through it?
Yeah, you can see through it.
Where's it?
It's at the top. Like you can see my finger behind it.
It's clear that there's a
Yeah, they're both like that though. So maybe it's by design.
Wow.
No dice.
No love, no joy. Okay. That's pretty centered inside, right? It's like the little boogers that are keeping it from sliding over. Okay. It's like only half on. Okay, now it's in there.
Dyno mode.
So the Corsa Performance Dual Exit Catback is a catback that has a chambered muffler. When we were installing it, we noticed that you could like hit it and it makes a gong sound. It sounds like it doesn't have much or any packing inside the muffler, which does produce a nice growl sound that we heard under acceleration. It also has some character on deceleration and downshifts. You can hear some pops and stuff with no burble tune whatsoever on this car for any of these tests. It also has a resonated mid-pipe. That mid-pipe offers drone control, rasp control. That high RPM tinniness sound is minimal with this exhaust. So that being said, we did have a couple issues on the installation of the tips. We did need to use a tool to open those tips up a little more to allow them to slip over the outlet sections of the muffler properly. However, once those were on, the tips were aligned, they looked good. And again, I do like the sound of this exhaust. It has a lot of character. I would say it's in the medium loud territory as far as overall sound. Definitely has a good growl, like I said. Great sound under downshifts. And I think that, you know, for anybody that wants to run stock header or maybe even an aftermarket header, because once this has run for a few thousand miles, that muffler's gonna quiet down a little bit as it fills up with, you know, carbon and exhaust soot. So, you know, right now it's as loud as it'll ever be, being brand new. However, the presence of a resonator and that chambered style muffler should produce good, not too loud sound, but with also that character that we all love to hear when we're downshifting and stuff like that. So, yeah, with that, let's get on to the next one. All right, now we're ready to unbox the Invidia Q300 Catback. So Invidia was pretty popular with the Gen 1 platform. They offered the Q300 and the N1, now the N2. The Q300, however, is known as being one of the quietest catbacks available for these cars. So, got ourselves a mid-pipe section. Very impressed with the polished stainless here. Sizable resonator. First impression, I like it. I do see what looks like a mild steel flange here, so that's something to be noted. Over time, accumulate some rust, but take care of it shouldn't be a problem. Tips are sitting right here for me, so I'll go ahead and grab one. Packaged well. Got ourselves a rolled stainless tip, slip fit style. Second tip, looking good. Hardware in the box here. Something hanging out here, looks like a weight of some form. Unsure of what that is, but we'll keep it over here. Looking like a second section of the mid-pipe here. Again, nicely packaged, nicely polished. We'll put a caliper on this to verify, but it looks like it might be around 2 inches, maybe 2.1 inches inner diameter piping. All right, and we have the muffler section here. All right, again, nicely packaged, nicely protected on the hangers. Rear inlet also polished. And we got ourselves a polished stainless muffler. This will do quite a good job, I believe, of toning down the volume paired with that resonator in the mid-pipe. And yeah, we've got, again, nice, fully polished. The welds look good here on the hanger. So let's get this thing weighed and get it on the dyno. Okay, so we found what looked like a weight of sorts, and when we were unboxing this, we thought this was hardware for the Catback, and we've opened 2 of these boxes so far, and it looks like more weights. Unsure as to why we got weights, but yeah, wheel weights, a bunch of wheel weights. So that must have been sent to us by mistake in this box, but now we have extra wheel weights in case we need to balance some wheels. More. 4 boxes of wheel weights.
Anybody need some wheel weights?
Anybody need some wheel weights? We got you.
Dynamo.
All right, so the Invidia Q300 Catback exhaust is one of the quietest I think we've tested. And we knew that going into it. Even even on the Gen 1s, the Q300 was known as a quiet exhaust. I call it header friendly again, because when you add a header to this, it's going to have a nice mild volume, mild tone. This catback with the stock header and front pipe on this car is no drone, a little bit louder than stock, a little bit throatier than stock. As far as the fit and finish, it came together really nicely. Appreciate the 2 bolt flanges with gasket. It's finished polished stainless. The tips look great. I think this is a good option for anybody that wants a quiet exhaust with the stock header and a mildly loud exhaust once a aftermarket header is added. So yeah, I can't really complain about this one at all. Again, no part throttle drone, 6 gear cruising, rolling into it, stays really tame. So I can attribute that to the large suitcase style muffler. This one did not ring like the Corsa muffler did when we hit it. It seems to have some packing in it, whereas the Corsa did not have hardly any packing in it. So that's why I think the Corsa had that growl to it, whereas this one just has a nice, smooth, even exhaust note that even on the downshifts, it doesn't really have that burble and character to it. So again, this one is for the people that want to look good and stay quiet no matter what with no drone. So let's go ahead and get this one pulled off and on to the next one.
Next up, we have the AWE Touring Edition Catback. I'm excited about this one. I really like the design of it, featuring twin mufflers at the axle back section with a Y. This is a 3-inch system, so here we have what looks like some hardware box. Let's check it out. We got our tips here, hardware included as well. These are some nice polished stainless tips, and let's check out what else is under here. So we've got our 3-inch stainless mid-pipe section. You can see the axle back here, first section of the mid-pipe here. So this is another reason why I like this catback. It has a resonator in the mid-pipe, so that's gonna tone down those high frequency sounds, unwanted rasp and drone as well. It's gonna keep that all under control. And we have 2 sections coming off of the mufflers for the tips, slip fit style. And we have here the muffled axle back section. These are some polished stainless mufflers, features a Y section here, easily welded up, and the tips will slip on to each side here. Put that back because we also have a bonus from AWE. We have their touring to track conversion kit. So with the touring section, as you saw, the axle back had 2 mufflers. With the track section, you get some weight reduction and some sound, extra sound from this. So this is gonna make it louder, obviously. Might even flow a little bit better, but we'll see when we test it on the dyno. We're gonna get these 2 weighed separately with the track conversion, aside from the muffled section, the touring section, and we'll get 2 weights on each one. So let's go ahead and do that.
Where did this come from? What is that?
No.
What does it say?
It
Bonus?
says this side up.
What else is it? Oh, bonus?
Bonus? Bonus?
Here. What is this?
What the hell? Where did this even come from? Gasket. Hardware.
What is this?
Dude.
Oh my.
It's a pipe. Oh,
With a flange.
It's got a gasket.
Wait, that only means.
Oh. We should do it.
We should do it.
We should do
We
it.
should absolutely do it.
Let's do it.
Let's do it. Spaghetti Earl, what are you doing here?
Spaghetti Earl special.
Hardwire.
Dude, did you write this?
No.
You just seem awfully suspicious to be coming over here at this
I'm
time.
I'm a mechanic. I'm not a. You only learned in school. It was either mechanics or alphabets.
Is this a crossover episode?
I mean, would it mate to the donut? Well, it doesn't matter, does it? Does this thing come with instructions?
Yeah, where are the instructions? Sean, it's yours creation. What should we call it?
I call it good. Great.
The Great 6 Spaghetti Earl Exhaust Special. Ultra lightweight, loud AF, and very inexpensive. Sean, how much is this for sale for? How much is this not for sale for?
More than you can afford, pal.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
That is, that's right. Oh, we didn't weigh it. We gotta weigh it. We'll weigh it after. I'll weigh it.
All right, boys. That ain't going nowhere. Let's run it. How about now?
It's good. Good bonus. Good bonus.
I wouldn't do that on my own personal car, but if you guys are interested, don't ask us.
What was that?
What was what?
More than you can afford, pal.
You engine swap this thing? I thought
Yes.
we were just doing exhaust. That was the best exhaust we put on here so far.
Yeah. Lightest. Probably creates the most power.
Mm-hmm.
The loudest.
Is that just dumped at the header?
You could say that.
No.
Is there no header?
No, there was. It was from the, yeah.
Non-existent catback?
No, there's it's Catback.
It's the budget catback?
The budget catback.
Yeah.
Yeah, the way it is. So if you're looking for an exhaust for your GR86 BRC,
At the end of the video, don't buy any of them.
buy this.
Dyno mode.
so the AWE Touring Edition Catback. This is another really nice catback. That's a 3-inch resonated mid-pipe, dual mufflers coming off the back. Really nice tips. This catback came together nicely. Really love the way it sounds. Might be among my favorite in the sound department, simply because it has a really nice growl to it. It has a lot of character on the downshifts, and yeah, it performs well as well. So this one will be among the on the louder side, even with stock cats on the car. However, you know, with regards to fit and finish, quality overall, this one I really would recommend for anybody that wants to have a great sounding catback with lots of character. Minimal drone. There is some present in 5th gear and 6th gear part throttle, but it's not so much to where you couldn't have a conversation in the car while you're driving. But listen to that. Love it. Love it. And this is not a burble tune. This is all natural coming off of this catback, with our tune and stock header. So with the touring to track conversion, it's essentially a muffler delete for the axle back section. This will be louder. We're gonna run that now, swap it, weigh it, test it on the dyno to see if it makes any more power. But so far, this is among my favorite catbacks for this car. Having a 3-inch, that, you know, opens things up for if you do forced induction, aftermarket header and front pipe. That's going to allow you to make the most power possible. These cars do like having bigger diameter exhausts in the power department. So again, really love this one. I have no complaints whatsoever. Do the track conversion and see what that does. All right, so the AWE does come with these little retaining collars that slip on over the exhaust hanger to keep it in place. It comes with an Allen key. So when you're running on the track and you're doing a lot of lateral G-forces, there is a risk of this exhaust slipping off of the hangers because it's being tossed left and right. So these will lock it down in place, keep the tips right where you need them to be, centered under the exhaust outlets. So we're gonna install these and that'll keep it in place, keep it looking perfect all the time. That ain't going nowhere.
Yep. Dyno mode.
conversion kit is essentially the exact same, other than the axle back section that is swapped for a muffler delete pipe. So with the muffler delete, what you get, more sound. You also get a little bit more performance. We just dynoed it and it made 243 wheel horsepower and 191 wheel torque. So just like the majority of these catbacks, they'll pick up between 2 to 3 wheel horsepower and 2 to 3 wheel torque as well. The biggest difference in this one is it's loud. If you like loud exhausts, you will like this track to touring conversion kit, or touring to track conversion kit, that will give you all the good noises. Downshifts sound great. This is not a burble map on this car, but it does produce burbles. We'll do a 4 to 3 downshift up here so you can hear it. But it has tons of character. It braps. It sounds like a Subaru. Even though it has a stock header on it, it does have a little bit of rumble to it. Some great sounds from this one. We're big fans of it. Y'all can hear that, hopefully. Just puts a smile on my face whenever I downshift this. And it makes it lighter. So if I remember correctly, the touring to track conversion kit brings the weight of this entire 3-inch catback system down to 30 pounds, which is a respectable weight considering, again, it's a stainless 3-inch system. It still has that resonator, so you're not going to have a ton of rasp. It's just going to be that deep, throaty sound that just sounds amazing, performs great. If you put a header on it, it's going to be really loud. But you know, it's one of those things that if you're tracking the car, you might really enjoy that. If you're streeting the car, you might enjoy that. Your neighbors might not, but it's one of those things where, you know, if you're running a stock header and you want a loud exhaust, this is the one to get. Either that or the Tomei 3-inch, I'd say. Here at TechSport, we love loud cars. We love our GR86. We want it to be seen and heard by the enthusiasts in the community here. So guys, let us know what you think, and we're gonna wrap things up and give you guys all the data here, all the sound clips, and enjoy all the sounds that they make. Thanks.
All right, guys, it's time to wrap this up. We are exhausted after installing all of these catbacks, and we have the data that everybody wants to see, we want to share with you guys. So, setting our baseline with this car on our GR86, it does have our TechSport E85 tune on it. That tune was unchanged from the beginning to end of this shootout. So the stock exhaust on our GR86 weighed in at 34 pounds. The inside decibel rating is 93.2 decibels. The outside decibel rating is 80.2 decibels. On our dyno, our baseline before we started this was 237 wheel horsepower and 185 wheel torque. All right, so the HKS high power Spec-L 2 catback exhaust is a single exit priced at $14.85. This exhaust was very light. Being a single exit, being lightweight, it is stainless steel in construction, but it came in at 19 pounds on our scale, which is a drop of 15 pounds from stock. So that's considerable. When we sound checked this exhaust, it came in at 93.8 decibels on the inside and 92.9 decibels on the outside. This change in decibels was only 0.6 louder on the inside and 12.7 decibels louder on the outside. So this is among the most quiet catbacks you can get. It does have a Helmholtz resonator in the mid-pipe, which does an excellent job of canceling out drone and any resonance that you might hear in the cabin and on the exterior. Subjective opinions on this would be that the exhaust tip, while it looks really good with the burnt finish on the outside of the tip, it's rather small. It doesn't look like it fills out the exhaust outlets on the GR86 quite as much as the other catback exhaust. This exhaust made a gain of 6 wheel horsepower and 5 wheel torque on our dyno, coming in at 243 wheel horsepower and 190 foot-pounds of torque. The maximum horsepower that this HKS catback made was 8 horsepower and 6 foot-pounds of torque at 6,700 RPM. So a great performer. This is spec'd for the GR Cup Series in Japan, and I can understand why. It is incredibly lightweight, it sounds great without being too loud, and it makes great power. So don't really have any complaints about this one. This is a good performer, a good all-arounder, It is on the pricier side, but this is HKS. This is high quality stuff. There was no issues with fitment on this catback. There were no problems whatsoever with regards to quality. The packing, everything came in a foam-filled packing material that was form-fit to every single piece. And we had every single piece. We weren't missing anything. So this is, I cannot recommend this enough to anybody that wants a high-performance catback that will not be too loud right off the rip. The Invidia Q300 catback exhaust, priced at $1,001. It weighed on our scales 38 pounds, which is a gain of 4 pounds over stock. The inside decibel reading was 92.3 decibels inside, which is a loss of 0.9 decibels. It's actually a little bit quieter. The outside decibel reading was 93 decibels, which is a gain over stock of about 12.8 decibels. The maximum horsepower gain was 3 horsepower and 2 foot-pounds of torque at 7,000 RPM. The peak horsepower was 238 wheel horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque. The Invidia Q300 is a nicely finished exhaust. It has a large suitcase style muffler, nice looking tips, easy install. It unboxed and it was packed well when we unboxed it. We were able to get this on really quickly without any issues. Again, this is one of the more quiet exhausts, being that it is quieter than stock inside, so that is something to be considered. Outside, it does sound good. With a big muffler like that, with dense packing materials, you will get a considerable reduction in the interior volume over stock. It does have a bigger diameter than stock exhaust, so that's why we're seeing those performance gains on the dyno, and it is absolutely a header-friendly catback. So when you are adding a aftermarket front pipe or aftermarket header, still be in the quiet zone. You will still be in that tolerable drone level, sound level, interior. So something to be considered about this exhaust, because there are some that we tested that are way louder right off the rip with a stock header and stock front pipe, that you will see considerable increases in volume once you start adding stuff up. So the ISR OMS Catback. The ISR OMS Catback is priced at $585. It weighed in at 37 pounds, which is a gain of 3 pounds over stock. The inside decibel reading was 93.1, which is a reduction of just 0.1, so it's just about the same inside as stock. The outside decibel reading was 94.7, which is a gain of 14 decibels over stock. The maximum horsepower was 5 horsepower over stock, and the maximum torque was 4 foot-pounds of torque over stock at 6,900 RPM. The peak horsepower on the ISR OMS was 241 horsepower and 187 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. So ISR, I gotta say, impressed us for the price. This exhaust has some really high quality brushed stainless steel finish. You can tell that they took the extra time to polish this out. And on the resonator, it's nice and polished. The welds around the resonator and around the flanges are extremely nice. And this is a true 2.5 inch from what we could see. The suitcase style muffler, again, is good for somebody that wants to do an aftermarket header or front pipe in the future. Also, it's good for aero. I forgot to mention that when you have a suitcase style muffler, just like stock, the underbody aero will be maintained without creating a lot of drag from the rear bumper. The rear bumper cover without the muffler underneath can become kind of a suitcase. So if that kind of stuff matters to you, you don't want to add a diffuser, the suitcase style muffler catbacks are a great option for you. But again, ISR, bang for the buck is there. The only thing that I would say is that their tips are big on these, and they have the burnt blue finish on the tips, which looks great, but they are among the biggest tips that we saw in this shootout. So not a bad thing, just an observation, and we are really impressed with their quality. For the money, it's among the best. All right, so the Magnaflow NEO Catback. This exhaust cost $2,039. It weighed in at 39 pounds, which is a 5-pound gain over stock. The inside decibels were 93.4 decibels, which is a gain of 0.2, still pretty quiet over stock. The outside decibels are 95.8, which is a 15.6 gain in decibels over stock. The maximum horsepower this exhaust made was 7 horsepower, and the maximum torque was 5 foot-pounds of torque at 7,000 RPM. The peak horsepower this exhaust made was 242 horsepower and 187 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. And the Magnaflow is the highest priced catback on our shootout list. So given that, we had high expectations for this exhaust. We noticed that it did feature V-band clamps for the connection points on the catback. I'm not 100% sure why. I mean, V-bands are nice for turbo kits and different areas of exhaust where you have to have tight bends and radiuses and stuff like that and keep things sealed when you're dealing with a lot of heat. Catbacks certainly do get subjected to a lot of heat, but it just makes the install easier when you have a 2-bolt gasketed flange, in my opinion. I don't understand if that's the big reason on the price, but this did come with a no drone technology as they've marketed it. And we did notice drone in the cabin, and you'll see that in the cabin footage where we did note that. Overall the quality fell short of what I would have expected for a $2,000 catback. The welds, the stainless were nowhere near as finished as some of the other ones. So for the Magnaflow catback, while it sounded great and performed well, it did not unfortunately stack up against our expectations for the price and quality that we would expect at that price point. Okay, the MBRP Armor Pro Single Exit Catback is priced at $655. It weighed in at 24 pounds, which a single exit should be lighter than stock, and this one is 10 pounds lighter than stock. The inside decibel meter reading was 91.9 decibels, which is a 1.3 decibel drop from stock. The outside decibels were 98.5, which is a gain over stock of 18.3. So we're getting into the louder catbacks here. So the MBRP produced a maximum horsepower gain of 7 horsepower and 7 foot-pounds of torque at 5,700 RPM. It produced a peak horsepower of 242 horsepower and 190 foot-pounds of torque. So the MBRP was packaged well. We were able to take it out and weigh it. And again, it had a lightweight 24 pounds, 10 pounds lost over stock. It is a true 3-inch stainless catback. The overall quality on the welds was okay. I think it could be better. The welds and the stainless were acceptable, but I would expect a little bit more at the price point when you compare it to things like ISR Performance, which just really hit it out of the park for the price. So of note, the MBRP Single Exit Catback does not have a resonator in the mid-pipe section. It just has the muffler at the tail end. So if you are adding a header or a front pipe to your 86, it will produce a lot more sound, a lot more volume. It could get obnoxious, it could get raspy, it could get droney. So that is something to note for the MBRP. Simply because, if it is just a track car, you may not care, but if it is a street-driven car, the potential for obnoxious volume levels, rasp and drone, is definitely there. The Borla S-Type Catback is priced at $999. This weighed in at 26 pounds, which is an 8-pound loss over stock. The inside decibel reading was 91.6, which is a drop of 1.6 over stock. The outside was 99.9 decibels, which is a gain of 19.7 over stock. The maximum horsepower that Borla produced was 7 horsepower and 5 foot-pounds of torque at 6850 RPM. The peak horsepower was 243 horsepower and 187 pound-feet of torque. The Borla S-Type Catback came to us. It was packaged well. Once we unboxed it, started trying to install it, we did run into some issues where we had to rectify the diameter of the outlets from the Y pipe at the back to the tips where they turn out to go out of the bumper. They were not sized appropriately to slip on. They had to be opened up quite a bit using some special tools to allow those tips to slip on to the Y pipe and to bolt on the tips to the outside. Tips on the Borla were quite large. They fill out the exhaust really well, the exhaust outlets really well, but you do have to be careful with regards to aligning those tips correctly because they can get close to the bumper and you don't want to be touching the bumper, obviously, because then you could have things melting. So with regards to the quality of the Borla, it did fall short for me. The welds, the muffler, the sound even for me just wasn't really it. It is a curious design in the way that they do include just a chambered muffler in where the mid-pipe section would be, where you usually get a resonator in a catback. It's just a Borla muffler there, and then it continues out the back with no mufflers and just a Y pipe out the back with 2 tips. It is a catback that I know is not for everyone, but some people may enjoy the sound. They may enjoy the lightweight. Being a dual exit, it's among the lightest dual exit catbacks that we've tested. But unfortunately, again, the quality just really fell short for us. And so for that reason, at the price of $9.99, I think there may be better options than Borla. Okay, the Corsa Sport Catback for the GR86 is priced at $14.84. It weighed in at 35 pounds, and that is a gain of 1 pound over stock. The inside decibel meter reading was 92.2 decibels, which is a loss of 1 decibel over stock. The outside decibel reading was a max of 100.5 decibels, which is a 20.3 decibel gain over stock. So it is louder, but not on the inside, which is a great thing for anybody that wants a quiet interior cabin experience while they're driving. The maximum horsepower that the Corsa Sport exhaust produced was 7 horsepower and 6 foot-pounds of torque at 6750 RPM. The peak horsepower from the Corsa was 244 horsepower and 191 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. So the Corsa was packaged well. The installation did hit a snag similar to with the Borla, where the tips come out of the Corsa's muffler and connect to it. We did have to open those up a little bit using a special tool to get enough clearance to slip those right angle pieces of the exhaust on, and then finally get the tips installed. Once that was in, it was fine. The Corsa muffler is another suitcase style muffler. It is one of the smaller suitcase style mufflers that we've tested, not the smallest in this shootout. However, it is interesting that when you hit it with your hand, with your knuckle, it makes a gong sound, which indicated to us that it had little to no packing. It's just an empty chambered muffler inside. So that contributed to some really unique sounds. The Corsa produced a growl. That's the best way we could describe it. A growl sound. It's a deep growl that sounds really good. It made all the right noises on downshifts. We could hear some pops and bangs and stuff like that without a burble map or anything. It just produced those naturally, and it sounded really good. The Corsa did have a resonator in the mid-pipe, which makes it header friendly, I think. It's going to reduce the drone. That's evident in the decibel meter readings, and it made good power. So this at $14.84 is again on the higher side of prices, but for the quality that we got, it was okay. I think it lived up to that. The sound quality was good, and there is nothing really bad aside from the little fitment issue that we had that I can say about it. It is not too heavy. It's about the same as stock, just 1 pound of gain. So this is something that I would recommend to anybody that wants to either further modify their exhaust upstream or just keep it stock and run just the catback only. Okay, so the other ISR catback exhaust we tested was the ST series. The ST series is priced at $679, which is a steal considering its quality and its performance. The ST series catback weighed in at 35 pounds, which is a gain of 1 pound over stock. The inside decibel reading was 93.2, which is exactly the same as stock. The outside decibel reading was 101 decibels, which is 20.8 decibels louder than stock. The maximum horsepower this created was 4 horsepower and 3 foot-pounds of torque at 7,050 RPM. The peak horsepower was 239 horsepower and 184 foot-pounds of torque. The ST series, like the other ISR OMS series catback, came out and impressed us right out of the box. They were packaged extremely well with foam packing. The resonator was polished stainless. The rest of the stainless was brushed. The welds were really nice. Again, for $679, you're not going to get anything better than this. The exhaust sounded really good. So as a budget-friendly exhaust, you cannot go wrong with ISR performance. The ST series is a true 3-inch catback. The quality, again, was exceptional for the price. The 4-inch burnt tips are subjective taste. They're really big, but if you can deal with that, it is going to really impress you. This is, again, a header-friendly catback where you could add a header or front pipe to this system and get yourself a really nice setup. for not a lot of money. So again, the ISR OMS and ST series catbacks are extremely budget friendly, and they seriously impressed us with their unboxing and their packaging quality. The welds were extremely nice. The brush finish of all the piping, the polished stainless on the mufflers and the resonator and the mid pipe, all very impressive. The only thing that I would say you have to put your subjective opinion on would be the 4-inch burnt tips. They are quite big, but the exhaust doesn't sound extremely loud. It doesn't have any rasp or drone. And so if you are a budget shopper and you know you want to get a header or front pipe in the future, you can get the ISR Performance ST Series exhaust and be confident that this is going to be a nice sounding setup for you now or in the future. I would recommend this one to anyone that's shopping for a 3-inch catback. Okay. So the other MBRP exhaust that we tested was the Armor Pro Dual exhaust. This one is priced at $865. It weighed in at 37 pounds, which is a gain of 3 pounds over stock. The inside decibel reading was 92.1, which is a loss of 1.1 decibels over stock. The outside decibels were 107.6, which is a gain of 27.4 decibels. So this one is a true 3-inch catback. It is going to be considerably louder than stock. The maximum horsepower this produced was 4 horsepower and 4 foot-pounds of torque at 6,900 RPM. The peak horsepower was 241 horsepower and 187 foot-pounds of torque. So being a true 3-inch catback, the MBRP did perform. When we unboxed it, we did see some shortcomings in the quality overall with the welds, the piping. We were noting at the Y section where the mid-pipe splits out to the 2 mufflers in the back that a gusset was not included at that Y. So that would be something that I would be looking out for if I were to run this catback long term, if that section where the mid-pipe splits off into the 2 mufflers holds up over time at that weld. Gussets are known to be included in those types of areas to prevent cracking and stress in the welds. Again, it did perform. It's very loud. It does not have a resonator in the mid-pipe, so that would be something that I would use caution with if you were to run a header or front pipe in the future with this exhaust and want it to be street friendly with no drone. I think that that is definitely a recipe to have those unwanted things if you were to go with this catback. So just something of note. It is priced well, so it is something that I would say is on the more affordable side for a true 3-inch catback. So the Tomei Expreme Type 80 was a special one for us because it is the only true full titanium catback that we tested in this shootout. It is priced for titanium quite well at $1,251. Of course, this one came in at the lowest weight of all the catbacks we tested at 17 pounds, which is a loss of 17 pounds over stock. Inside decibel was 94.3 decibels, which is a gain of only 1.1 over stock. 108.4 decibels on the outside, which is a gain of 28.2 decibels. So, without any mincing of words, this is a loud catback, but it sounds awesome. It's so much fun to drive this thing around with the titanium on it, and the noises that it makes, the backfires, the pops and bangs are awesome. We enjoyed it. However, if you were to install a header or front pipe with this catback, it would be quite loud. It does drone right off the rip. There's no getting around it, but that's why we love Tomei. That's why we love their titanium stuff, because it is loud and it performs so well. Getting to performance, the maximum horsepower that the Tomei made was 6 horsepower and 5 foot-pounds of torque at 7,050 RPM. The peak horsepower was 242 horsepower and 186 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. So this one came packaged extremely well. It was super easy to install, being a single exit. It just feels racy, and that's a good thing if you like racy. I like racy. The Tomei is for the person who wants to be loud and proud. They want to have the most weight reduction possible. Personally, I love a good single exit. I love a good dual exit. If I were to run a single exit, I'd be looking for an exhaust outlet cover for the other side just to make things flush and look good on that side, and potentially even a rear diffuser to clean up the aero, the drag that's produced by removing the stock muffler. But Tomei, nothing bad to say. Love the pie cuts, love the titanium, love the way it sounds. Would recommend it to anybody with the budget for a titanium exhaust. AWE Touring Catback. This is priced at $1,340. It weighed in at 43 pounds, which is a 9-pound gain over stock. The inside decibel reading was 92.2 decibels, which is a loss of 1 decibel over stock. The outside decibels were 108.6, which is a 28.4 decibel gain over stock. So these are getting loud. 28.4 is among the loudest that we tested. However, this one produced some gains. We saw a maximum horsepower gain of 9 horsepower and 7 foot-pounds of torque at 6,000 RPM. This produced 242 horsepower and 191 foot-pounds at the wheels. The AWE is a 3-inch catback, and it produced great sounds. It installed really easily. We were able to slip on each piece of it, slip over the clamps, get it running very quickly. I would recommend this exhaust to anyone that's looking to make the most power, the most performance from their GR86 or BRZ with the budget friendly at only $1,300. Also, we can lead into the AWE Track Edition. So we purchased the kit that allows you to essentially remove the axle back section of the Touring Edition with the mufflers, swap in essentially a muffler delete, and create even more sound. And so with the AWE Track Edition, the full kit is priced at $1,030. That brings the weight down to 31 pounds, which is a loss of 3 pounds over stock. Removing the mufflers does make things considerably louder. The inside decibels with the Track Edition were 95.1, which is a gain of 1.9 over stock. That would be the loudest interior decibel reading that we got. Outside decibel reading were 110.5, and that is also the loudest exterior decibel reading we got. The maximum horsepower on the Track Edition was 7 horsepower and 6 foot-pounds of torque at 6,400 RPM. The peak horsepower were 243 horsepower and 191 foot-pounds of torque at the wheels. So AWE gives a unique option to be able to swap to a track setup and lose weight while doing so. So it is a great sounding exhaust either way. It is just extremely loud without the mufflers on the Track Edition. So being able to swap back and forth is something that might interest people that both street and track drive their GR86 or BRZ. As far as the quality goes, we were really impressed with it as well. Ease of install was there. We were able to enjoy a lollipop when we unboxed the tips for it. That's one thing that no other manufacturer included, so we did like that. It did also produce the most horsepower. 9 horsepower and 7 foot-pounds were the max, and so this is our highest performer. So this data is hopefully helpful for you guys to be able to shop and choose an exhaust system for your GR86 or BRZ. We're greatly appreciative for you guys sticking around and watching this whole thing. Let us know in the comments what you think, anything that we missed, anything that you'd like to see in the future, let us know. And again, all of these catbacks are available on techsport.com. So please check us out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys in the next one.
Point thing.
Okay.
That's that one.
Okay.
Sorry.